So let's make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll make a motion to open the meeting.
Second.
Kathy Harder seconded it. I didn't receive minutes. And I don't know if anyone else did, so we can't accept them in, and we will do that on our next meeting.
They're from July.
Right.
Yeah. we
You
got
did
them.
get them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get them?
I have not.
I didn't see them.
Okay, so maybe I'm crazy. I feel like I saw them.
Okay, well, that's okay. So on our next meeting, we will accept both of these in. Okay, once Linda gets back on her feet. So moving forward, we have a few applications on our agenda tonight. And basically what we need to do is set a public hearing for them for next month. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Yeah.
So, where did you start?
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with 251 Montgomery Street.
Oh, all right.
It says, Dear Lisa, attaches an area variance application from the property owner of the above referenced property. The applicant has applied to my office to construct an addition to the rear of the existing single-family residence. The property is located in an R4 zoning district and requires a 7.5 side yard setback. The applicant is seeking a 5.5 west side yard setback variance and a 6 foot 1 inch east side yard setback. Any questions you may have, please contact my office. So there also is a map to this.
Mhm.
So I'm representing the owner.
Hello.
Hi there.
Yeah, it's his.
I think the application is legally complete. Photos of the situation would have supported their case in my view, but it's not legally necessary. So I'm fine with, I actually drove by and saw the place. I'd never been on that street before. Cool street.
Yeah, it's a 10
Anyway,
going at it.
I digress. I think it's legally sufficient as complete.
So I'm sorry, what, Steve? I didn't hear that last
I
part.
think it's legally sufficient as complete. In fact, you can't even see the rear yard from the street. It's hidden.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think it's.
Board have any questions for the applicant? Does the applicant want to add anything in?
No, I think it was all in the application.
Complete, okay. So I need a motion to deem the application complete, and we're going to set a public hearing for next month.
I'll do that. I'll make a motion to deem the application complete for 251 Montgomery Street and set a public hearing for our next meeting, which will be on September 16th, 2020
At 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. I
I'll
second
second
that.
that.
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? So next, let's do 315 State Street.
Oh, you want to do this one since it's all.
yeah.
Oh, wait. Let's do 517 Prospect, because the applicant is on with us still.
Yeah, I'm representing him too.
Right, that way.
All right. So it says, Dear Lisa, attaches an area variance application from the property owner of the above referenced property to construct an accessory building. The applicant is seeking a west side yard variance of 11 feet 6 inches, an east side yard variance of 13 feet 6 inches, a lot coverage variance of 12%, and a rear setback variance of 5 foot. The property is located in R2 zoning district. Accessory building requires 15 feet. Setbacks from all property lines and 15-foot height requirement. Any questions you may have, please contact my office.
I have the exact same comment as with the last application. I think it's legally sufficient. If photos have been submitted, that would have shown that it would have made their case better, having driven by it, but it's not legally sufficient, and so I'm fine with it.
Photos would have
Yeah.
been nice, but you don't need them.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay, does the applicant need to add anything else in?
And
Harvey?
there are no questions.
Do you have any questions, Myron? No?
No.
Okay, so I need a motion to accept, or deem the application complete and set it for the public hearing for September.
Make a motion to deem the application complete and set a public hearing for September 16th at 6 o'clock.
I'll second that motion.
Myron seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are the two we did, right?
Yeah, please look through
Okay.
it.
All right, so let's do 430, 430, 436, 438 East Allen Street. Attaches an area variance application from the property owner of the above referenced property. The applicant has proposed to convert an existing accessory structure into a residential structure. Attached to the application is an addendum from the applicant's attorney listing the area variances for lot coverage, side yard and rear yard. The property is located in an R3 zoning district and is a permitted use. The proposal requires to follow the schedule of bulk for the 1 and 2 family bulk requirements.
I think this is the one without a site plan. I consider that legally, makes it legally insufficient.
We included there is a survey map included.
Well, I didn't get it. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, they
You
were included with all
submitted
of
it. I withdraw my objection, but it wasn't in what I printed out. I guess that's the problem with Zoom and the virus and God knows.
So can you,
I may have it in
Next
PDF.
time, condense it and attach it to the thing. That way I won't get confused.
Yeah, I had a
couldn't
concern.
print it out.
I had a concern about that also because in reading through the whole application, I understand what he feels is an encumbrance, but I don't understand what the setback would be on one side, for example, for fireman access. So there's no site plan for me to understand the scale of the building. Yeah, I'm not looking for a design thing, but I'm looking to see what
Yeah.
it is and where it places.
I had sent with the applications, I sent it both electronically and in hard copy. So you all should have, I think there were 10 copies of this map included with the application.
Oh, I don't have it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't attached.
I don't have it, so I'll shut my mouth.
Craig
I don't
probably
have it either.
knows we printed these offline. And I couldn't print mine off, but,
Madam Chairman,
yes.
is it possible we could deem the application complete subject to putting on in emailable form the site plan and send it to us? There's no problem with this thing.
Okay.
It's a technical thing. And I guess we didn't get it and it's due to our situation. So
Okay.
if that's all right with our attorney, subject to producing that, we can get over that and not cause the applicant to lose a month. I drove by all the properties and
That's fine with me.
the cases are all really strong looking at those alleys. So I'd hate to cause a delay for them.
I appreciate that. If I have it in PDF, I'll get it out to everyone tonight. If not, I'll reach out to the surveyor who put together the survey map and get it to you ASAP.
Crystal, I have a question.
Thanks.
Chris, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So,
You're not in, you gotta get.
oh, sorry. Question. So this is, there's a garage there. They want to convert it or knock it down?
Converted. They're
So-
not changing the footprint. It stays within the footprint of what exists now.
Right, so in other words, it's a building that already exists and they're gonna turn it into a different use, but the footprint will be exactly the same. But you need a variance because you're changing the use.
That's
Right.
absolutely correct.
I have zero problem with that. I
Okay.
mean, I think,
Welcome to Hudson.
Yeah.
All right, so,
I feel like I don't know, I mean, the building's already there.
right, right. And it's just because it's a different use, it's got to follow the different.
Correct.
The
So
protocol.
variance again,
Right.
but it's there already.
See, it's got to follow the requirements of the bulk, the family bulk
Right,
requirements.
sure.
So, right, right. It's
Then-
there.
and
They're not changing
changing
anything.
the
They're going to
footprint
change
at all.
the interior.
Right, they're gonna
Yeah.
change the use of it.
Right. Okay, so I need a motion to deem the application complete, and then I need a second so that we can also set a public hearing for next September, or next month, September 16th.
I move that we deem the application complete, subject to producing the site plan as described, say at least a week before the next meeting, which gives you lots of time,
Absolutely.
and set a public hearing at 6 PM on September
16.
16th, 2020.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving right along. I think it takes us longer to set up.
I think so too.
That's true.
Okay, 315 State Street.
Huh.
Attaches an area variance application from the property owner of the above referenced property. The applicant is applying to construct an accessory building, applying to construct an accessory garage with a studio workspace to the rear of the property. The property is located in an R4 zoning district. Accessory buildings require 15-foot setbacks from all property lines as per chapter 325-22 of the City of Hudson Code. The applicant is asking for a rear yard setback of 15 feet, east side yard setback of 4 feet, and west side yard setback of 3 feet, as well as a lot coverage of 10.5%. So,
I have
Is
the same comment I had for the first
now.
two applications.
I'm
It's
sorry.
legally- I have the same, it's legally sufficient as complete, in my opinion. If they had attached photos, it would have made their case even stronger because I drove by it, but it's legally sufficient.
And there is a site plan, Steve.
And that's right, that's why it's legally sufficient. Thank you. So that's my opinion. And I'll
Okay.
make a motion or somebody else can if there's no
Yep,
further.
I need a motion to deem it complete and set the public hearing for September 16th.
I'll make a motion to deem the application for 315 State Street complete and set up a public hearing for Wednesday, September 16th at 6 PM.
Second,
You second, Steve.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So one thing before we go, I did you about the Galvin application.
Mhm.
And he did send an email in the afternoon saying that, he pulled it. No, he didn't. No, he pulled it for the Common Council. He still wanted to speak with us. Basically, what it is they had asked for a legal opinion. Craig Hag gave it to them, and it was supposed to go to the planning board, but because they appealed his opinion, it comes to us. So with that being said, he wanted to still present his case with us. And Zoe and I talked this afternoon. He did send the application and the points to Zoe. So at this point, did you talk to the applicant?
Yes, thanks, Lisa. I talked to Mr. Gottlieb, who is representing Galvin on this application. And so what happened was Craig issued a decision as to what part of the zoning code applies to the building of a residential structure in this particular area, which is a commercial district. And Galvin that was an adverse decision. He said they can't build it there. The attorney for the Galvin Foundation is appealing that decision based upon his reading of the code. So what we're left with is sort of a question of interpretation. And I have been in contact with Mr. Gottlieb, who is on the call and representing. I don't know if he wants to say anything about this, but yes, the project has been pulled, but they still want an answer to the question of interpretation because that will affect their ability to build in this particular location in the future, as the decision will run with the land if it's not appealed. So between now and the next meeting, Mr. Gottlieb did have a PowerPoint presentation to share with us tonight as to the foundation's position on Craig and the reason why they're appealing the decision. And Lisa and I decided that we would be more comfortable with that PowerPoint presentation were shared at a public hearing. So that's what we're going to do. And between now and then, I will be working with Lisa and Cheryl and Craig to determine, any opposition that we may have to the question of interpretation that the Galvin and Mr. Gottlieb are trying to put forward. And we will talk about it. And then you folks will make a decision as to who you think is correct.
Okay, I have a question. So, all right. So I just want to get this straight. So they're trying to build on this lot residential housing, and they submitted the application. This is like recap here. And Craig said, you can't do that. That district is zoned commercial. You cannot, this is not a permitted use. And they said, you're wrong. This is a permitted use. We're appealing what you said to us. Now, when they say we're appealing, they appeal to who? Us?
Yes.
Yes.
So we are now tasked with deciding who's right.
And what I can do is this is a little bit complicated if you don't have all of the arguments in front of you. So what I can do is I can share with you the letter that Mr. Gottlieb wrote on behalf of his clients, the Galvin Foundation, to us explaining their point of view. And then between now and the next meeting, Cheryl and Roberts and I are going to develop, and Craig are going to develop, our position, and we will let you all review that. And then you're going to hear the PowerPoint presentation at the public hearing, and you can take all of that information either under advisement and make a decision to be communicated at a later date, or you can issue your decision after the hearing.
And right. So, and then of course we'll hear from the public as well and what they have to say, which we'll also take into account. But at this point,
yes, that's right.
All we need to do is look at the application and make sure that the application is complete. That's it.
And set the public hearing.
Yes, that is correct.
We're not making any.
Steve, did you have a question? No, there's not going to be any decisions made tonight. Lisa and I already discussed that.
Okay, thank you.
And Steve, did you have something to say?
Yeah, when, I didn't want to interrupt, but if it's my turn, yes, I do.
Yes, please.
I looked at the application. I'm a lawyer, so I found it interesting. That's number one. And number two, did the code enforcement officer get a legal opinion in conjunction with the decision he made, either orally or in writing? You don't have to answer.
Not prior to making it, Steve.
Okay. And finally,
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what Cheryl and I are going to be doing over the next couple of weeks.
Okay. And I, because we're really kind of acting like an appellate court in a way, I want to ask some questions of the attorney for Galvin.
So I think that
just let me finish, whether that, I'm asking, would that be appropriate now or at the public hearing? Because I do want to.
I think that I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve. I think that if your questions are substantive about the question itself, we should wait until the public hearing.
Yeah, it's in the nature of legal arguments.
Yeah, so let's wait because I want everybody to have the opportunity to have all the information before we get into questions.
And then one final question, and it probably hasn't been looked into, and knowing Hudson, it probably doesn't exist. Is there any legislative history concerning this?
That's part of my job over the next
I
couple
bet it
of weeks to see what we can find out about that.
If you
Okay?
find some legislative history, that'll be very unusual for us. But good luck.
Yes, all right.
Good, Hudson.
Thank you. And
Very well.
Mr. Gottlieb, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just one thing. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify one thing, and to the extent you have any questions, have Zoe email them to me, and then we can be prepared at the public hearing to address them. Also, one thing I wanted to make clear, the use of the property is not an issue here. Craig did determine that the use of the property was permitted. The only question is do area variances, are area variances going to be required? But we can get into that later. I just wanted to make that clear that
Thank you.
the use was permitted, and the question is whether area variances are going to be required.
Okay, so that's actually completely different from what you were just saying. So is the question that he's saying that it can't be used as residential, or is the question that about an area variance? They're two completely different.
The question is as to whether, and if so, which area variance rules are going to apply to this particular building.
Because it's residential.
Correct. In a commercial zone.
Right.
If I may add something, the argument that I read is that we're making a statutory interpretation of the zoning code.
That is correct.
And they're making an argument that under the zoning code, it was not necessary for them to seek an area variance. The code enforcement officer, in his interpretation of the code, said yes, and it's pretty technical, you do have to get an area variance.
Yeah.
So that's
all of this,
whether the code forces them to come to us seeking an area variance or not.
Well, originally, Steve, when it happened was the planning board had asked for an opinion. So he addressed it back to the planning board, but because the applicant appealed it, it is in front of us. And now our legal advisory is going to take some time and look into it and then
Sure.
our ducks in a row.
and part of my job here is to explain all the issue to you so that you, as essentially a court right now, are going to have the opportunity to see both sides and the arguments and the information and codes upon which the arguments are based. And then you'll have all of that. So you don't have to understand the technical, information that you're going to need to make this decision right now. That is going to be provided to you by me before you have to make the decision. So you don't have to worry about that. And I would just ask, yes.
I have a procedural question, strictly a procedural.
It comes in on the 16th.
Which is it appropriate or not for me to email you and ask you, say, I've got these legal issues and questions?
Yeah, me, absolutely.
As our attorney, so I'm communicating. These are the things that I find of interest. That
that is fine. That's totally appropriate.
So by the time
Mr.
we have a work product done,
Yeah.
we have as best as possible for.
Correct.
Court.
Absolutely. And Mr. Gottlieb I'm going to engage with him. I would just ask that if you have questions for him, you direct them to me and I will communicate with him. Okay.
Absolutely. I had no intention of doing otherwise. And I admire you. I like you. I trust you. No, I do. I'm delighted to work for you. Really.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sleep on that.
as the rest of us are.
Is that the beginning of a dinner date?
Any time. I'll swing for you, honey.
A social distance dinner date.
You know,
Okay,
it-
right,
it's
so,
fascinating. It's fascinating in the context because all I keep hearing about is affordable housing in this town.
Okay.
And it looks like there's an effort to be being made to create some affordable housing. So I'd like people to consider that. Of course.
Right. Well, it's important. What's important, and I agree with you, Myron. What's important to remember is that and correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, but the application for the actual project has been pulled from the Common Council. So right now, right? Is that right?
Yes. Oh, well, you know, we're working on that right now. And first of all, excuse me if you hear a child yelling in the background. I'm playing attorney and father and babysitter all at the same time.
Good for you.
The pilot agreement, the pilot application has been pulled from the Common Council. We are now in discussions with the developer and our consulting team to see what does that mean for the project. So the project is still viable. We just need to see what it means and what it looks like, if anything, without a pilot agreement. So the planning board application has not been officially withdrawn, but we do want to get this interpretation kind of out of the way to see, in our opinion, no area variances are required, but we want to see what impact that will have on any development on this property in the future.
So can I just clarify? So you're not going to do this project, but you may want to do some project. So you just want to clarify what you can do so that you can move forward
With this project.
Right, we need to see the development team, and we might have more information for you in September on this because this is all very new. What does the pulling of the pilot agreement mean for the development, and what does that mean for what we can develop on the property? All that might change the layout. We don't know at this point. But one thing we do know is that the CEO's determination here will run with the land, and we only have a certain amount of time that we had to appeal it. So that means this application is still very viable, as it's just a legal question and really not tied to a particular project, as weird as that sounds.
Can I ask a question of council? So is it not true that what we're being asked to do is strictly a statutory interpretation? The merits of the project at this stage are totally irrelevant.
Yes, and
if we decide.
That is correct, Steve. I spoke with Cheryl about this very issue before the meeting, and the fact that this is essentially a moot point because the project has been pulled. However, the decision of the zoning code enforcement officer runs with the land if it's not appealed. And so it doesn't affect their ability to move forward with other projects. If this were allowed to stand without being challenged, then they would be remiss.
But what's at issue, as I understand it, is whether whatever the project morphs into, whether or not this requires, given the current zoning, an area variance at all. If we agree with the code enforcement officer that it does, then whatever project they come up with down the road, they will have to, unless they go to court and overturn our decision, they will have to seek an area variance. If we uphold or overturn the code enforcement officer's decision, and there's no lawsuit within whatever period, then going forward, that particular zoning district will never require the seeking of an area variance. Is that a fair statement? I
would say yes, but we're going to take it one step back even further.
You agree with me now.
Right. But what you're saying is true, but we're going to take it even a step further back, because what we're being asked to decide, or what you're being asked to decide, is what provisions of the code apply to the parcel in which this property is situated. So it's not even, so you're just being asked, what rules do apply here? Because that's what is at issue. So when I send you, some information, I'm gonna make it real clear, what are the questions for you? And then I will answer them from my perspective, and Charlie will answer them from his perspective, and then you'll make a decision.
As our counsel, I'll be sending you some of my questions for you to
Okay.
respond. For better, or worse, for richer, for poorer. Thank you.
No, okay, thank you.
Zoe, thank you. Okay, so let's move forward and put this on the agenda for the public hearing for next month, September, Wednesday, 16th. So I need a motion for that.
I have one other question. If you're going to give us a written opinion of some sort, Zoe, will we get that in advance of the hearing, or will it be unveiled at the hearing? Or
There'll be plenty of time before the hearing.
all right, okay. In that case, if I may make a motion, or
Go ahead.
okay,
Can I just jump in quick before you adjourn? I just want to let you know that I have sent you all the map, the site plan survey map.
Thank you very much.
Spirit of my motion, how dare you? Okay, so I move that we set for a public hearing on September 16th at 6 p.m. The appeal by the Galvin Foundation of the Code Enforcement's interpretation of the code regarding the need to seek an area variance.
Second, I need a second.
I'll second. From whoever.
All right, so, well, actually, Kathy chimed in before you, Mary Ellen, so I'm going to keep Kathy as a second. Is that
Yeah, because
okay?
she's standing right by you. There's a delay in the voices on Zoom. No, I'm
I know.
kidding.
I just wanted to make
That's
it clear for Linda, that's all.
No, that's fine. Okay,
Okay.
Kathy, you beat me.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so I will see you all Wednesday, September 16th at 6 o'clock. So I just need a motion to close the meeting.
By the way,
Thank you,
Mr.
everyone.
Gottlieb, your paperwork was very well written. I'm just telling you.
Thank you. I'll send that up
I'm
the
not
chain. at the
speaking to
firm.
the merits of your case, but it was well written.
Okay. Fair enough. That's half the battle.
All right. So
Okay, so I need a motion to close the meeting.
I
Yep,
move
I'll
to
make a
adjourn.
motion.
I said,
Um,
Oh,
All right.
Mary Ellen made the motion and Steve seconded. Okay,
Okay.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the meeting is adjourned. I'll see you next month.